Hello and welcome to episode 7 of Gully to Gully. It's going to be an interesting one. Pakistan have finally announced their World Cup squad. Some very surprising inclusions and some disappointing exclusion, I would say. I've got Moin here to analyze everything. So where do we start, Moin? Do you want to start off with the biggest surprise, electrical
I think,
generator surprises, or do you want to
well,
go?
the first thing is, it's just, forget about the people. It's just the sheer inconsistency of selection. It's so obvious that they have no idea what they're doing, right? So before the Asia Cup, you thought there was some method. Okay, we're missing a pace bowling all rounder for Faheem Ashraf. And actually, after the India game that got washed out, you're like, you know what? That was a pretty good move. And then suddenly he's dropped. He's not even in the reserves. He's completely banished. And then you have poor Zaman Khan, who you and Shahnawaz Dhani. Let's not forget Dhani. We keep
Yeah.
forgetting Dhani. Bachara, he's racked up so many Emirates miles for nothing, And this poor guy. Suddenly you have this pecking order, and then you completely put all of that aside and pick Hasan Ali. It's almost as if you're clutching at straws. It's like when you're a little kid and you're quickly trying to drink the last katras of juice in the juice box. And this is where you're at. So I think, like, I feel for Zaman Khan, I feel for Shahnawaz Dhani, because you're giving them lots of mixed messages, and even Faheem Ashraf, right? We'll come on to talk about whether it's the right or the wrong selection, but it's just inconsistency. And anyone watching, right, Pakistan, I think one of the last teams to announce their squad as well, so everybody's waiting, and it just looks a bit funny, right? Because nobody knows. And everyone in Zaman said, "Oh, Imad Wasim, we haven't picked because he hasn't done much in ODI. We can't rate him on T20 leagues." But Hasan Ali we picked because in the Lankan Premier League T20, so yeah, he did well.
Of
So
all
I'm
the
like,
leagues, the
okay,
Lankan T20 league,
yes, please,
where Fakhar
yes,
Zaman actually flopped, but you still kept him. So,
yes,
anyways,
yeah,
um, it's a very interesting one. So I would make 2 points about this. So Faheem Ashraf, firstly, I feel okay. He isn't a Hardik Pandya, he isn't a Ben Stokes, but he's the best you have in that department, that type of player, right? We haven't groomed anyone. We had, I don't know, Hamad Azam, Amir, a few others who've like shown sparks in the past, but none of them have really done much. So he's the best you have. You've not groomed him enough. The same thing happened to him in the 2019 World Cup, where he made the initial squad and then got dropped because Amir and Wahab got brought in. Now he was probably
um,
expected to be part of the squad, and then you've dropped him again. So I think from his point of view, I wouldn't be surprised if you hear a retirement press conference after the World Cup at some point. So that is a really disappointing thing to do, to be honest.
yeah,
And then yeah, of course, the Hasan Ali thing. Look, and I'm going to get berated for this, but I think they're trying to copy India's model, and they're looking at Hasan Ali as the Shardul Thakur equivalent, someone who can whack it at number 8, is not express pace, but can do a good job if the conditions suit him. And I think that's what they're trying to do. And they can go with Haris and Shaheen as your main bowlers, and then they can decide, okay, whether they play Nawaz or Osama Mir or Shada, depending on the conditions. I think that's what they've tried to do. They've said, okay, our template has not worked. Let's see what India is doing, and let's just do that.
but but the one thing is, on one hand you can call them utility players, but on the other hand you can call them bits and pieces cricketers, right? It depends on what side of the spectrum you sit on. As I mentioned, I think with India's case you have an exception because you've got three number 11s, right? Pakistan doesn't quite have that same lengthy
Yeah.
tail. So, but I understand what you're saying, and I think that is why. Look, I think the thing with Faheem Ashraf is less about him not succeeding. It's also the fact that Shadab Khan is not picking up wickets in the
Yeah.
middle overs. So Faheem Ashraf would have been a great selection if you just needed someone to hold up one end and you had
Yeah.
Shadab in his wicket taking
Yeah.
form. You don't have that. So which means you need somebody who's taking wickets in the middle overs, right?
Yeah.
Faheem Ashraf's not your guy. They want Hasan Ali to be that guy. I
Yeah.
think Hasan Ali and Faheem are the
And I
direct
think, to be
swaps.
honest, to be fair to Fahim, except for those last 2 overs against India, which isn't his job anyway, to bowl into
Yeah,
death, he did
he
a
did
decent
well.
job. Against Bangladesh, he was okay. Against India, he was okay for the first 7, 8 overs that he bowled. He was going at under a run of ball, which is from, in a match where the score is 350 plus. That's
Yeah,
okay. So again,
precisely.
okay, his batting has been questionable, but it's not like we've got anybody else waiting. We don't have a Ben Stokes waiting in the wings to come in. So
I rate Hassan Ali with the bat. Okay, I do rate him. I think he's underrated with the bat. He can come good. My my point is, And there are 2 points. One is, okay, Hasan Ali's in the squad. Fine. How do you use Hasan Ali? I don't agree with Inzamam saying he's good with a new ball. He is not good with a new ball. Okay, he is not good with a new ball. If you are going to play him, he needs to be first change, and it needs to be Shaheen and Haris to open. I know Babar Azam may not do that, as we all know, but the reason is you are neutralizing Shaheen's threat by releasing pressure at the other end.
Yeah.
And then you end up in no man's land. There's a saying in Urdu, na idhar ka, na udhar ka. So you're not picking up wickets in the early overs because the other end is releasing pressure. So Shaheen can't pick up the wickets you want him to. And then you have Hasan Ali who's going to go for plenty. I think he's good with the older ball. I mean, you have to hope that he'll come good.
Yeah.
But they need to get that right. The other point is Zaman Khan. The reason is, I think they said, Zaman Khan, I think he's surplus to requirements because you have got other good bowlers at the death and all. To be honest, there's never such a thing as, we have too many bowlers that are too good at the death. I mean, there's no such thing.
And we don't.
Exactly. I mean, Shaheen, okay, he sometimes does leak runs. And the point is, you can just think unconventionally. If you have Zaman Khan, why not bowl Zaman Khan for 5-6 overs straight to the death? And that allows you to bowl more of Shaheen and Haris in the middle overs when you're lacking, right? Yeah. Another point you could do is just have a conventional first change option in Zaman Khan. He would have been your first change. He can't bowl with a new ball, I don't think. And he can bowl in the middle and the death. And who said that you're not allowed to bowl Yorkers outside the death overs? You can bowl them anywhere you want.
Yeah.
But this is where Babar Azam needs to think outside the box. If Hasan Ali is preferred over Wasim, you have to open with Shaheen and Haris, or where conditions allow or where matchup analysis allows, open with a spinner. Yeah. If you remember, we tried that Imad Wasim and Shaheen partnership and Amir Imad partnership in 2019 World Cup. It worked. Right now, this is where
Imad Shadab against Jason Roy, I think.
Shadab was Jason, but it was Imad Wasim against New Zealand and Imad Wasim against Afghanistan, right? But try that. Now I know we don't have Imad Wasim. This is why I thought his selection could have had merit if you are looking for a new ball bowler. But you have Nawaz. Nawaz has done it a couple of times in the past with good success. And why not try it? When you have matchups.
I agree. I think the other thing with the one person we've completely ignored here is Wasim Jr., who probably will be your preferred starter. And I think that's the problem with Naseem Shah gone. You have Shaheen as a new ball bowler, and everybody else is a first change. Maybe you can argue Wasim. So the actually only new natural bowler you had was Faheem Ashraf, because he's done that at least at T20 level. So now you've ended up in a position where you have 3-4 first change bowlers. So you don't have that balance, right? I mean, okay, look, and I think let's not get too controversial here, but looking at what Mohammad Hafiz has ended up doing, you can make a point that this is Babar Azam's 15. He's gone in and said, I want this guy, this guy, this guy. I want Hasan Ali in. And some people have not agreed with it and subsequently themselves. So look, if he's made this call, it's a gamble, but if it pays off, I mean, I'm not very, very comfortable with it, but it is what it is now. And the other point, sorry, let's just changing topics a little bit, is this thing around Mohammad Haris. How can you go into a World Cup with no backup keeper? It's ridiculous. I mean, you have he's in the reserves, but and Rizwan, we know, is injury prone. Every game he sits down and he's like lying down for like 10 minutes, he gets injured, and then he's fit again. So if he gets a niggle at any point, you just don't know, you might need him to rest for a game where you'll have like Imamullah wicket keeping. So, and you can't drop, and to get Harrison, you'll have to drop a player for the whole tournament, right? So I just don't get the thinking behind that.
Yeah.
It's a weird decision. I don't know if Salman or Saud or what their keeping capabilities are, but
it's basically to accommodate Saud Shakil without dropping Salman Agha, right?
True.
That's what they've done. I think Saud Shakil should have definitely been in the squad. I'm glad he is.
Yeah.
Now, at least the good news is we won't see Haris coming in at number 5 in a crunch game. Okay, so that's a positive. True. But the point is, I think you also have to just realize that actually, Rizwan, for Pakistan to have any chance of winning, Rizwan needs to play every game. I think that's the thinking. So it's only if he gets, because every game is important in this type round robin format, right? So every game you need to win. So it's no like, acha, there's a dead rubber. No game's dead rubber. So the only time Haris will play is if Rizwan gets injured. And
Yeah.
that's probably why you have the reserves in the first place. Now, the issue is the reserves are irreversible, because if you make the
Yeah.
change, you can't. So you
Yeah.
are taking a gamble there.
Yeah, that's
But
what
I
I'm saying.
think,
Yeah.
and maybe
If he has
Salman
a if he has a
does
minor injury that he can't play one match, then you're left with no
exactly,
option,
you're
right?
stuck.
Then you have to
You're
drop
stuck.
someone else, basically, a
Stuck.
Salman or a Saud. And to be honest, like this, I don't get this point around having Salman, Saud, and Abdullah Shafiq. Because Shafiq is, you can say, is an opener, but he can bat in the middle order. And that's what he's done previously. His record is questionable, but anyways.
Yeah.
So you have 2.5 options to come in at number 4 or 5 if needed. So I don't get why you have 3 players. Again, we've been fans of Saud Shakil here, and we know that we expected him to be in the squad. But I just think they're carrying one middle-order batsman too many, and they've had to drop Haris because of that. But
I think the issue is, if Abdullah Shafiq's a number 4, then our favorite batter has to open the innings, right? And I think that's the problem. So you're a bit stuck. But yes, it feels a bit imbalanced. Personally, I don't think Haris should be there. I think Sarfraz would have been a better traveling reserve, because he bats better against spinning tracks, and he has the wisdom in the dressing room. But in any case, it's done. I think Haris should have been in the squad. I don't rate him, but I think you're right. Rizwan can pick up a niggle here and there, and maybe Imam Ullah can do the job, but I don't know. I mean, it's not.
But okay, it's done now. There's no point overly analyzing this. It's all done. Objectively, what do you think this team can do?
Look, I think, and we say this a lot, but a lot hinges on form, right? I mean, unfortunately, we are heading into a World Cup where suddenly forms have alarmingly dropped. Naseem Shah's injury, I know now people will say Waqar was injured before 92, and the 92 comparisons will open all over again. But look, I'm cautiously optimistic, only because I think, there's a reason Pakistan have, a famed bowling attack, and maybe we're being harsh on Hasan Ali. Maybe he will come good. I'll give you a funny analogy, because Pakistanis love superstition. 2011, who was your surprise call-up? Pace bowler, Wahab Riaz. 2015, who was your surprise call-up? Sohail Khan. 2019, who was your surprise call-up? Mohammad Amir. There you go. They always turn up good. So
and they took 5 wickets.
It'll be Hasan Ali.
And Wahab took 5 against India in 2011. Sohail Khan took 5 against India in 2015. Amir did well at the end. Yeah.
4, and that included a Kohli dismissal who wasn't out, and Kohli graciously walked. Right? But in any case, I think this team is the best that we have, right? I mean, unfortunately, you haven't kept your fast bowlers fit enough. So this is what we have. I hope Wasim plays ahead of Hasan Ali. Wasim can also bat. I hope he opens the bowling with Shaheen, because he's the only one who I think can do it if you want Haris at first change, personally. There was a time when every bowler wanted to open with a new ball, but because of T20 now, everybody, no, we want to bowl with a slightly older ball for our variations. But anyways, things change. My worry is, I think, getting the captaincy right. I think they shouldn't be afraid to sometimes open with a spinner here and there, try something different angles, matchups, bring the conditions into play. Let's see. I hope Mickey Arthur decides to stay with the team full on. He chose to stay for the team for the pointless Afghanistan series and decide to abandon the team for the most important Asia Cup. But I hope this won't happen again.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that.
There you have it. So look, let us know what you think about this squad. But let's be honest, this is the team that's been selected. We can labor on this for hours, but if there's one thing you can learn from Pakistan cricket, it is that it thrives on chaos. And the whole mentality of corner tigers, backs against the wall, chips are down, is encapsulated in the very fabric of everything Pakistani, not just cricket. So let's hope that brings out the best in the most Pakistani style possible. And let's hope, as we go into the World Cup, we see rational thinking, we see form coming back, and we see lots of surprises. All right. Thanks, Ahid.
Thank you.